From Selhurst Park, and welcome to our Matchday live preview show in association with Standard Chartered. We're live everywhere just now. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We'd be on Bebo and MySpace if we could. We'd like to give everyone a taste of what is coming up at our Matchday live show on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. Ray Houghton is with me for the next 15 minutes or so, and there's plenty to chat about. We will have to talk about what happened in midweek against Real Madrid in the Champions League and some of the errors that occurred in that game. We'll focus on today's opponents, Crystal Palace, and their recent troubles in the Premier League. We'll discuss our front three, given their recent improved goal-scoring form, discuss whether they have really started to click of late, and of course, Ray will pick his starting 11 for this evening's clash here in South East London. Well, Ray, let's pause thoughts of tonight just for the moment and talk about midweek. It started so well against Real Madrid. How did it unravel so badly in the end?
It's a difficult one to answer, Mark, because I thought after the first 15 minutes we were excellent. I really felt we were getting in behind Real Madrid. They allowed us to a certain extent, and I think David Alaba was really struggling with Mo Salah. Mo was getting in behind him constantly. I thought over on that right-hand side between Henderson, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo, they were working that triangle really well, getting in really good areas, creating chances. You know, we got the goals at the right time. The only thing we didn't do, I felt, when we went 2-0 up, is actually sat back a little bit and reflected with the scoreline was, what we were trying to do, what we needed to do next. It just looked like we were going after it again. We're 2-0 up, we'll make it 3, we'll make it 4. That was the attitude that we had, where you knew, playing against Real Madrid, at some stage they're going to change. They're going to do things differently. You know, I think when Nacho came on, he just gave him a little bit more balance on that side, a little bit more competitive. We stopped doing what we were good at. They actually worked us out in the sense that they started defending deeper, so there wasn't any space to play the ball into, so we couldn't run in behind him. We were now playing in front of him, and we're not as good when we play that way. Where we got the goals, where we got the opportunities, it was quick play, in behind, brilliant. Some of the balls we played, some of the football early on that Liverpool played, I thought was as good as I've seen all season. First 15 minutes, sitting back, you're applauding, you think that's the way we should be doing it. And then all of a sudden, we don't do it. You know, we can't get in behind, and then we start trying to play more difficult passes. We lose it. And then on the counter-attack, they were lightning quick, weren't they? You know, Vinicius Junior, the pace that he had, he showed his strength, the opportunities that was created. They didn't do a lot down the right. Rodrigo wasn't really involved in the game. Most of their play came down the left. And then Modric started to get in control of the game, where he was now dictating the pace in that midfield area. And then the goals we gave away was quite incredible. Not closing down, you know. Alisson makes a really bad mistake with where he should have really played it out there or kick it away from the player. You don't hit it straight against him, and he knows that. You know, he probably won't do that again in his career. But they were pivotal moments, and then we've gone from 2-0 up in control back to 2-2 at half-time, and the game was in the balance. I thought, you know, I could see it going either way, but the way they came out in the third goal, you know, when Joe goes in for the challenge, was it a free kick or not? I thought it was, personally. But we don't mark properly. You know, we zonal marking inside. I was doing the game for TV in Ireland, and, you know, I'm looking, and straight away, my first comment to the commentator was, we're not picking anyone up. If anyone makes a run, they're going to get across us, because we're all static, all inside the 6-yard box. I just didn't think it was the right way to defend that situation, and then Militao gets in, gets it 3-2, and you could see all of a sudden now the players' shoulders are slumped, the confidence wasn't there, the belief wasn't there, and it just looked like, no matter how many goals that Real Madrid were going to score.
You mentioned it at 2-0, we sort of didn't put our foot on the ball and assess the situation from that point. That in-game management, does that come from the senior players in the team? Does someone need to take responsibility in that moment, or why is that breakdown happened? Why has no one done that?
I just think it comes down to confidence. I don't think the belief's there at the moment. I thought Fabinho started well, but it faded as the game went on. I think it was the same with Jordan Henderson. Jordan started well, playing balls in behind. But then they allowed Real Madrid to dictate the pace. Instead of them getting on the ball and maybe slowing it down, making a few more passes, try to pull them out of positions and then to play the ball in behind. We didn't. You know, we were still trying to do what we were doing. It got us a 2-0 advantage. and then we just allowed them to come back into. Listen, they've got quality. Like there's a reason why they're the holders, and if you look at their form and the form against us, I think we've played them 10 times overall. First 3 times we've played, we won all 3 of them. Since then, we've not won a game. We've got 1 draw, and I think it's 6 defeats in the 7 games that we've played. So there's where one of the problem lies. Once we go behind against a team like that, is there enough players all pulling as one to get ourselves back into it? I listened to Jurgen after the game. I thought he came out with some really good points. I think he was brutally honest, and I think most Liverpool fans would have accepted that. We didn't control the game in the manner that we should have done at 2-0. If we had not made them mistakes, then it could have been a different result on the night.
3-goal deficit now, going away to the game in Madrid in a few weeks' time. Does Jurgen write it off? Does he prioritise the Premier League, or does he still have to go with hope and belief that a miracle is possible?
No, look, the Liverpool way, it doesn't matter if it's Jurgen Klopp, Roy Hodgson, whoever's been manager of this club, there's a way you have to play, and that's you have to go and win. That's the mantra from Liverpool Football Club. Every game's important. You can't say, oh no, well we won't put out a strong team in that one. We'll put out, maybe because of the league matches coming up, we'll focus on that. That's never been Liverpool's way. We didn't do that against Barcelona when it came to Anfield and we turned it around. We still got to believe in ourselves, still got to believe in the players that we've got, and the squad's getting stronger because the players come back from injury are getting more training sessions, they'll get more minutes on the pitch, and hopefully they can go there and have a bit more belief in themselves, control the game a little bit more, might be a little bit more pressure on Real Madrid. They've got that 3-goal cushion. The away goals is not a factor anymore. That's gone now. So you go there, get your focus right, defend properly, you get the first goal, you just might get the crowds, a little bit more concerned on what the scoreline might be. So now, it's the last chance of silverware. That's the way I look. The last chance, give it a go, give it everything you've got. Go out there, and you never know in football what you can achieve.
OK, let's park talk of the Champions League then and focus back on Premier League business. Back-to-back wins in the Premier League, of course, coming into this clash with Crystal Palace. What do we make of Crystal Palace? Start of the season, they came to Anfield, they got a point, they defended resolutely. What did you make of that game in isolation, and then what's happened with Palace since that point?
Well, the sending off was huge, wasn't it? Darwin getting sent off really gave them an incentive. I thought we actually dominated with 10 men. We created more chances. I thought we were going to go and win the game. We didn't, but we came away with a point, which is credible when you have gone down to 10 men in the match. Our form over the years against Palace has been brilliant. I think prior to the draw at the start of this season, we'd won 10 in a row in the league. That 5 here and 5 up at Anfield. So it just shows you how dominant that Liverpool have been as a side. We beat them 7-0. There's been a lot of good performances, lots of good results. Looking at Palace recently, I was down here for the game against Newcastle. Newcastle were the better side, didn't do enough of the chances created, but with Palace, they keep themselves in it. Played Brentford recently. I think we're 1-0, conceded a late goal. They've drawn 4 of the last 6 games. They've lost 2, so they've not won. And I think that eats into you. You start thinking, well, when's the next win coming from? They'll look at the results from earlier today. Who's catching them up? Are they going to get into a relegation battle? They need a win. That's what they'll be looking at. Can they turn it around, get a win that gets you much higher up the league and gets you more comfortable, more confidence, more belief? They don't score enough goals for the players that they've got. They've got strikers there. They've got like some Mateta up there, Eduardo, amongst others. Wilfred Zaha's the key player, but Wilfred's been out with an injury. And you've got Jordan Ayew. Eze came on last week against Brentford, scored the goal. So they've got players have got ability, but don't do it on a consistent basis, hence the reason why they're in the position that they're in.
Yeah, the form in 2023 has not been great. It's 4 points, 4 goals, 1 clean sheet. It's that goals issue that really is at the heart of their troubles, I think, because there's some great creativity. Michael Olise has been excellent this season, really provides a lot of ammunition, but there's no one settled up top providing the goals. What do you think their best option is? Obviously, Wilf could be back today, but again, he's not played through the middle as much this season.
No, I don't think they'll play Wilf. I wouldn't have thought so unless he's really 100% fit. It's too big a game for them to, put him in from the start. If he, they've assessed him during training sessions just to see how fit he really is. But they might bring him on as a substitute. That might be something that they'll be looking at. Keep it tight, frustrate Liverpool for as long as possible, and if it remains at 0-0, you know, late on, 15, 20 minutes to go, then throw him on and see what he can give you as far as just creating one opportunity to win you the game. But yeah, the strikers have been struggling. You know, you talked about the key areas for them. You know, the midfield, we Lacey, he's been in and out, but when he's been in, he's been very, very good. I rate him highly. He's got great awareness, great vision, can see a pass. Ezzy's been the one, you know, since he's had so many injuries since he's came to the club, but he's such a powerful lad. You know, he's got great ability as well. He should be scoring more goals. He should be assisting a lot more goals as well. And that's something I'm sure that Patrick Vieira's been looking at to try and get more out of him as an individual and as a team player for his side. But Patrick, to his credit, he's never came out and really put his team down. He's always backed him. He's always said, you know, that there's a result in him. He really feels that Palace could beat anyone on the day. You know, if you get the right system and the players are all as one as they go out to play and they're all focused on the job in hand, there's enough quality there to win football matches. It's just the consistency level has been a problem for them.
Is there any part of you that thinks Palace could get dragged into things at the bottom? At the moment, they've got a bit of daylight between themselves and the relegation spots. But given their form, is that a risk or too much quality?
No, I think there's about 7 or 8 teams that I would be concerned about at the moment. Still plenty of points to be played for in the Premier League. We see with one week you can get a good result, next week you get beat, and that's the inconsistencies of the teams down at the bottom. They just don't perform at the level high enough, or you know, game after game after game, and that is a concern for them. So I do believe there's about 7 or 8 teams that are down there that will be genuinely worried about they could be dragged into a relegation battle. You know, the points difference between third from bottom at the moment and maybe, you know, 4 or 5 places up is only about 3 or 4 points, maybe 5 points at maximum. That's only 2 games. You know, you lose 2 games, the opposition win, you know, other teams win 2, and all of a sudden you find yourself in that relegation zone. So they'll know there's still a lot to be played for, but they'll be looking to try and win a game. That's the thing. You need to get that win. You know, when you've not won for so long, we said, like, you know, the 4 draws and 2 defeats that they've had in the last 6 league games, you need one win just to change your confidence around, change your fortunes around, and change the belief in the squad.
From a Liverpool point of view, one part of the team that seems to be starting to work a little bit more fluidly now is that front 3. Have you been encouraged by what you've seen in recent weeks?
Yeah, I think there's enough to suggest that, you know, for the foreseeable future, Liverpool have got some really good players. You know, some young players coming through. They're only going to get better with more games that they play, more understanding of what's required from as far as the manager's concerned. They've come into a team, like Cody's come into a team in January, Darwin at the start of the season, and the form's not been consistent enough. Confidence hasn't been high. So they've struggled at times. You know, the last few games has certainly been better. I've actually gone with my team selection for the game tonight. I've actually changed it around up front because I'm just going on what I sort of got a feeling from Jurgen. What he was trying to say was in the next few weeks he's got to utilise his squad. He's got to get, you know, some of the players that are coming back from injury more minutes on the pitch. You know, the likes of Firmino, the likes of Jota. You've seen that on Tuesday night when they played in the game. The touch wasn't quite right. There was a few balls that came into the box and it just got away from them. Now, if they'd been playing on a more regular basis, I'm telling you, that ball would have been killed instantly, boom, and the shot would have been away. But because they're a little bit rusty and they're not quite up to speed, the ball's getting away from them. You can see the frustrations there with the 2 players as well. So I just think the manager might change it up today, freshen things up, particularly with the game against Wolves on Wednesday evening as well, and he might just change that front 3 around, just to give maybe 1 or 2 of the younger element, you know, a night off, if you like, a little bit of a breather, and players that need some game time, bring them in and throw them into a game like this and say to them, right, go out there and give it everything that you've got.
You get very different things from Bobby Firmino and Diogo Jota. Would you be tempted to put both in this evening, or is it an argument for one over the other?
No, I'm going with a pair of them, I've got to be honest with you. I think, look, listen, they know what Liverpool are about. They've been here for enough seasons. They know where Liverpool are at the moment. The lads have been watching the games. You know, even though they've got the injuries, they've been coming to, particularly the home matches, watching what's been going on, and you observe and you see and you think, right, that's what's missing. But with Bobby comes deep. He wants to get involved in the build-up play. If you've got Darwin and Cody, they don't do that. You know, they're a little bit higher up the pitch. So he gives you a different way of playing. He brings, you know, he helps out the midfielders. He'll get turned on and see the passes for Mo. I thought Mo, for half an hour the other night, 40 minutes, was electric. You know, he had you on the edge of your seat because he was back to his old self, you know, coming short, running in behind, you know, because he knows the ball's going to be delivered. Where I think a few weeks ago when we were struggling for form and struggling for, you know, confidence, he wasn't making them runs because he knew the players on the ball wasn't going to play it to him. So there was nothing happening in the game. You know, it was just unlike what we've seen for so long with Mo Salah. But I really like what I've seen against Real Madrid. He was so positive. He got into good areas. You know, he created the first goal, scored the second goal. Could have had another chance where he some lovely footwork. He got in and he just hit it towards the near post because Rudiger stopped him curling the ball into the far post. But for me, he was back to his best. So Mo has to stay in the team. I think he's key to the way that that the Liverpool play. And he's so confident. The goals that he's scoring, the assists that he's getting, and I've seen him on Tuesday. I think he's back at best. So I think, you know, tonight he's going to be a huge player in this match.
OK, well, let's throw up your team for this evening then. You've given the game away to a point. You've at least made 2 changes to the lineup. Talk us through the rest of your side.
Well, Alisson in goal, and then I've just changed the back four around a little bit. I think James Milner might come in at right back. James is, you know, steady Eddie. You know what you're going to get from James. He's got to be competitive. He wins the ball. Look, Trent's had a tough time. You know, there's a bit of criticism about his defending. Has it affected him when it comes to that? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not there to see him. Going forward, he's absolutely brilliant. You know, he's as good as anyone in world football when he comes forward from that right-back position. He's, you know, crossing. I just think tonight the manager might just go with Milner, Matip, Virgil and Robbo as a back four. That's how I see it at the moment. Midfield, I'm going to go with Bajcetic. I think they might... Fabinho just might leave him out tonight. Henderson to one side, and might give Keita a chance. And another player that needs minutes on the pitch. He had a few games, a few matches ago, and then he's been left out. And then up front, as I say, I've changed it around. We're going with Jota, Firmino and Salah. So that would be my starting 11. I don't expect it to be that. I get it wrong all the time with Jurgen. But just in his press conference in the last few days, I've sort of got that feeling from him that he might have to freshen things up and he might make some changes. And there's some players that he knows needs plenty of minutes on the pitch.
Great stuff, Ray. Yeah, not long to go until we find out if you're correct with your prediction for the starting lineup this evening. And before we wrap things up, it's probably just worth taking a moment to point you in the direction of where you can see all the action from this evening's game here at Selhurst Park. Yeah, you can see the action from 11:45. Free highlights will be available over on LFC TV Go. All the best moments of the game in that. Then LFC TV Go will also have the full match available for you at midnight too. And then tomorrow, Inside Palace will bring you all the exclusive behind-the-scenes footage from events here at Selhurst Park. As what's coming up around tonight's game, well, Matchday Live will build up to all the action from 6:45. Stephen Warnock and Gary Gillespie are with Steve Hothersall in the studio. Ray and I will be on hand here at the ground. Then it's on to live audio commentary of all the action from 7:45. And then, as ever, the Matchday reaction show will follow the full-time whistle at around about 9:45 tonight. Steve and Stephen will be back with Neil Mellor alongside them to run the rule over the 90 minutes from the game down here in London. Yeah, that's it from myself and Ray for now. We will be back in Matchday Live a little bit later on. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching it around the world.